Hello, and welcome to the Ollie Show. I am Ollie's dad, Jay, and you are?
Ollie,
Okay. And what are we going to talk about today, buddy?
the 2025 NFL Draft.
That's right. It's coming up. We're recording this the morning of Sunday, April 6th. The draft starts Thursday night, April 24th. So we got just a couple weeks to go. Everything's coming into focus, and we thought we'd start with this first episode we're ever going to do, focused on mock draft. The hope for this show is over time. It's just going to be mostly about football, but obviously we're going to touch on other important stuff, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, great. So let's get right into it with the first overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. Who will the Tennessee Titans be taking?
Cam Ward.
Good pick, bad pick? What do you think?
Well, it's mostly based on need because they need a quarterback, but he's also like a good player. And everybody knows that they're going to get him because they literally canceled their private workouts with Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders.
So, I mean, like it seems like all signs, it's like essentially a lock that Cam Ward's going
Yeah.
number one. Well, we can move on quickly because of that, but I guess like I'll put you on the record here. Do you think Cam Ward's going to be a great quarterback? Like, is he going to be one of these people in 5 years where we say he was only picked number one because it was a weak draft at the quarterback position, or do you think he's going to be picked number one and be a great starting quarterback for a long time, be an all pro and lead this team, and like be the answer for the next 15 years at quarterback for the Titans?
I don't think so. I mean, it's tough because I think it might be like Caleb Williams' situation where he got picked number one overall, but he had like a terrible coach, and then like they need to like rebuild the next season, and then we don't know if Caleb Williams is going to be good this season. So
Hmm.
something like that might happen.
But everyone's thought Caleb. Everyone is very high on Caleb Williams' talent. He was like consensus number one. He was even the kind of person that people were willing to tank for. Cam Ward was not in that situation. I would say preseason. I don't think Cam Ward was expected to be the number one
Right.
overall pick. It's just it feels like a year where there isn't that clear consensus. Number one, it's a draft for need, and I don't know if Brian Callahan's a terrible coach, and I don't think you do either. You know,
Mm,
it was his first year last year. The team has a
yeah.
lot of needs, so we'll see where it goes. You know, you hope Cam Ward's going to be a great player. The
Yeah.
one thing I will say in Cam Ward's favor is he went to where was it? Incarnate Ward University. Is that where he
Yeah.
started? And then he went to Washington State, and then he did this year in Miami where he
Mm,
really popped. So I kind of like, from a story perspective, from a narrative, the idea of somebody kind of not, not being that guy who's just always had it handed to him, that he had to really work. And so if he comes to the Titans, where a team he is going to have to work, that feels like a good sign.
yeah.
All right, so number two overall pick is going to be the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns are also a team that's in a funky situation where they have Deshaun Watson eating up all their cap space,
Yeah.
but not really able to play. So, who do you think that they're going to go with for their number two? Who's going to be the number two pick?
Travis Hunter.
And why do you think Travis Hunter should be the right pick for that team?
Because they need a receiver, and it's nice to have a third cornerback.
But so all signs are he's going to be cornerback first, that he's a better cornerback than a receiver. Do you think that they would look at him as the receiver or the cornerback?
Um, well, based on need, they like need a receiver a lot more because on like cornerback side, they've Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome, but I mean, they could put him at cornerback if they needed that. Like if Denzel Ward has like a season-ending injury, then they could put him there. Yeah.
But they don't. They also don't have a quarterback to throw it to him as a receiver, correct?
Yeah.
That seems like a
Yeah.
small issue.
True.
I mean, all signs are he's going to be a cornerback first. And the other option for the Cleveland Browns would be Abdul Carter, the edge rusher, who everyone's very high on, and I think it's
Yeah.
broadly considered the number one like talent. If you were just kind of not going off of need, but I guess I don't know. Like you don't think pairing up Miles Garrett with Abdul Carter makes sense, and just kind of having a line
Um,
that can wreak havoc?
no, cause no, it's just cause I don't even know. I just don't think that Abdul Carter's gonna do as good as people think he's gonna do.
Really? All right. Well, that brings us to pick number three, which is a team near and dear to your heart, the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Now you right now have we have Cam Ward one, we have Travis Hunter two,
Yeah.
and now with the number three pick in the draft, who are the New York Giants going to take?
I changed my mind again, so now Shador Sanders.
They're going to go with Shador. So
I
why
changed
do you
my
think they
mind
go
so
with
many
Shador?
times.
They've signed Russell Wilson to a 1 year deal. They signed Jameis Winston. I mean, I wouldn't say either of those guys being on the roster would prevent you from adding a third quarterback in Shador. But why do you think they would go with Shador versus Abdul Carter?
Well, first of all, you saw like in Hard Knocks, like Jameis Winston was like mentoring DTR, so he's happy to like teach the other like young players. And then like Patrick Mahomes like sat for a year and like watched like I don't even know who it was develop
I think it was
and
Alex Smith was the quarterback for that year.
he became super great. So uh and maybe he's great because he's Deion Sanders' son.
Well, I think that the story on him, from what I've heard from podcasts I listen to, other experts out there, besides us, is that you would think he's super athletic because he's Dion's kid, but he just doesn't have
Yeah.
that same level of athleticism that Dion has. But he's really good at processing the game. Like, he makes good decisions. He's more akin to a pocket passer, but he's a little slow on the decision making. So maybe, if he had an extra year to learn, it's just like, I don't know. Is Russell Wilson the best person to learn from? Is Jameis Winston, who makes he seems like a lovely guy in the locker room, but makes a lot of bad decisions? Is that who you
Yeah.
really want mentoring? And then you have Brian Dayball, who I still don't know if he's a good coach or not.
Yeah.
He kind of got the job because of Josh Allen. Josh
Yeah.
Allen's a terrific quarterback. He left. It's not like the Bills have missed a step. And he did have success in year one. He's on the edge. But I would say if I was Brian Daboll, I'd probably be rooting for picking Shador because it gives me at least another year to say, hey, we're developing this quarterback. Give me
Mm.
time. So we're going to go with Shador number three to the Giants. And Shador, wasn't he wearing those cleats? Didn't he have cleats
Yeah.
that said
He
like New
had
York
Giants
Giants?
cleats, and like a ton of things are saying that like the Giants really want Shador, or at
Hmm.
least that Shador really wants to go to the Giants because then he can
Well,
throw like Malik Neighbors.
well, Malik's great, but yeah, weren't they? And they were throwing to they were playing catch in New York earlier like last year, at the end of
Wait,
last year, weren't
really?
they?
Shador Sanders and Malik Neighbors were?
I'm almost certain that happened. That I saw clips of that online on social. So, um, yes. And if we're being honest, the Giants aren't the best run organization as of late, and organizations that aren't super well run might try and stretch at quarterback for
Yeah.
somebody like Shador. So, I mean, again, if it was me, if I was the Giants, I would just take Abdul Carter. I would essentially tank next year. You're not going to win a Super Bowl anyway. And then I would just try to get Arch Manning and then just be like
Uh,
really. Then you'd have, imagine if Arch Manning could get to the Giants in 2026. Think about how good the NFC East would be. You'd have Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl champ. You'd have Jaden Daniels, who looked amazing, and then you'd have Arch, who is highly regarded. Now he's never started. Maybe he'll stink next year. Probably not, but we'll see.
and
All
then
right,
maybe
so
Joe Milton will be amazing.
that's true. Then you're right, exactly. You got Bazooka Joe Milton with that cannon down in
Yeah.
Dallas. So that would be just a loaded. The NFC East would be tough with four great quarterbacks
Yeah.
right there. Okay, let's go to pick number four. That is the New England Patriots. They are in prime position thanks to your decision to go with Shador.
Yeah.
So who do they take at number four?
Abdul Carter.
Okay, I think that is a if if it all broke that way
Yeah,
for the
if that
Patriots,
worked, then
it'd
they
be
would be
amazing.
very happy. Yeah.
Yeah, you got new coach of Mike Vrabel, defensive guy. You'd get like the
Yeah.
kind of widely the hipsters consider Abdul Carter to be the best player in this draft, edge rusher, and I think they're like Patriots fans who, some of them were extremely frustrated at the way the team failed to lose. Like the Patriots, it was all like a jumble at the end of the season, and the Patriots could have been the number one overall, but they gave it all up. Um, now they get it. So it'll be kind of perfect. They'll wind up with essentially the number one talent in the draft. It'll be something that really breaks the Patriots way if it goes like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so who do you got at number 5 for the Jacksonville
Mason
Jaguars?
Graham.
And why do we go with Mason Graham to the Jaguars?
Because, well, they have the fifth overall pick, and he's probably about the fifth best player in this draft class.
Mm.
And also, their pass rush ranked last in the NFL last year for like rush win rate. So,
So you're saying that's a need, and that's a good matching of the best available talent plus the team's need
yeah.
at that spot. Okay, so from here on in, I know like basically nothing. I paid attention to like essentially the top four,
Okay.
and after that, I'm going to leave it to you. So you're going to have to really take the wheel for us here. Number
Okay.
6, Las Vegas Raiders. Who do the Raiders
Um,
go with?
Ashton Genty.
And you're not worried that that's like too high or that's like too much of a stretch. So let's go with the Raider story is new coach Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
They traded for Geno Smith. So you think? I mean, I could see Ashton Genty playing that what's the name, Marshawn Lynch type role that Pete
Yeah.
Carroll had. You don't think that they would want to go O line? You think Ashton Genty is the way to go? Why do you like
Yeah.
Ashton Genty here?
Well, first of all, last year they had about zero playmakers on offense or defense. I mean, I guess
Well,
they
they
had
have
Max
Brock
Crosby.
Bowers, and
Oh,
Brock
yeah.
Bowers, who's like
But
a stud.
they have not had a good running back
Mm.
for as long as I can remember.
So a
So,
lot So a lot of people say when it comes to the running back position, this is a deep draft on running back. And yes, Ashton Genty is very good, but you can get somebody even better, maybe in the second or third round. You think it's worth kind of grabbing him early in the draft?
yeah.
Because
I don't know because he's really good.
that's the analysis. Hey, that's why they come here. That's why they come to the Ollie show. Oh, what were
Yeah.
we going to listen to today? I don't know. I was thinking about listening to Ollie show. Why? Oh, because of this cogent analysis by Ollie. I heard him say that Ashton Genty is really good. Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll move on to the Jets. Number 7. Who are the Jets going to pick at number 7? Jets team that is rudderless. I don't know if you saw this. Like the teams get grades at the end of the season. Like they
Yeah.
do this in like this polling by the NFLPA, and the Jets got like
Mhm.
Fs. And Woody Johnson, who owns the Jets, was complaining,
Yeah.
claiming it's some sort of CBA violation. I think it's just that his team is poorly run and people don't like him. So they have Justin Fields as their quarterback. They got Aaron Glenn as their coach. That's the big changes, like the two biggest. Um, Hopefully, Sauce Gardner's getting better at golf. What do you think they do at pick number 7?
They get Tyler Warren.
Really? Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
So you don't think you really like these skill position guys, huh? You're not a
Yeah.
trenches type guy. Even though we just watched
No.
the Eagles win because of like great O line, great D line, you think they go? I mean, Tyler Warren is highly regarded. So you think that
Yeah.
that's the answer? But like, so just pushing back on it, they have like Brees Hall, right? They've got Garrett Wilson. They have decent skill position players. Do you think that that's like? I don't know their line. Do you think that they don't need a fix at O line?
Well, they might. They would probably need a tackle, but they could get that tackle in like the second or third round.
Okay. You think so?
Mhm.
All right. All right. Let's go on then.
Because they
Let's
do
go
not
through.
have a good tight end. Like they
Okay.
have like Tyler Conklin. He is not good, and
Okay.
he like became a free agent this year, so now they don't have a tight end.
They have to have
So,
somebody there. But
well,
okay,
they
so
have
you're
like
saying that
Kenny Eboa, so he spent like more than like he spent the entire first half of the season injured, and then he like came back and had like not like he had like not a lot of yards for the rest of the season.
all right. So we go with Tyler Warren. We go on to pick number 8, Carolina Panthers, who were a very interesting team in that they were terrible for a
Yes.
long time. And then at the very end, they showed signs of life. The coach, Dave Canales, he'll be going into year 2. Why am I blanking on the quarter? What's the quarterback's name? I'm totally
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. Bryce Young, who was number 1 overall, looked like it was going to be an all-time bust because, like, not only they traded to get Bryce, but then they had the number 1 overall pick the next year, which wound up being Caleb Williams, who everybody was very high on. Tough start for Caleb. We'll see what happens this year. But again, signs of life. Where do we go with the number 8 pick here for Carolina?
Jalen Walker.
And what position is Jalen Walker?
Edge rusher.
So why not Will Campbell to the Panthers?
Um, well, if they need an O lineman, it's going to be guard and Will Campbell's tackle. And some people like Donovan Jackson are just able to, and like, what's his name? Joe Tooney are just able to be like, oh, I'm a guard now. But I don't
Hmm.
know if Will Campbell is able to do that. And Jalen Walker is like really good. Like he's a lot like Abdul Carter.
Really? That's
Yeah, he
super
wears the
high
same
praise.
number.
Oh, well, is that the only thing they have in common?
Yeah, but he also is like really similar to Abdul Carter.
Okay. So you like Jalen Walker there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's go to the New Orleans Saints. Gosh, talk about a team that is just they got Kellen Moore. I mean, unbelievable. Like Kellen Moore, 1 year with the Eagles, wins a Super Bowl, and immediately bolts. I don't necessarily blame him. If you get an opportunity to be a head coach, you should take it. Stinks for Jalen Hurts, who keeps like making offensive coaches look amazing, and then they leave and get more money. But I have no idea. Like the Saints are maybe they actually it would be really fitting if they bottom out and go and get Arch because of his grandfather having the New Orleans Saints connection. But who are they going to draft here at pick number 9?
Will Johnson.
Will Johnson. That is the tackle.
No. That's Will Campbell. They're
Oh, right,
drafting
right.
Will Johnson, which is a cornerback.
Cornerback. Okay. All right. Excuse me. My bad.
Because
Go ahead. Why?
they traded so at like mid-season they traded Marshawn Lattimore, who was their like
Oh, yeah.
longtime number 1. Then they lost their number 2, Paulson Adebo, in free agency. So now they need a corner.
I like that, particularly if you take a long time horizon on this team. A good cornerback is not going to be so good that he really adjusts your win percentage. So if the plan is, and I think it should be, bottoming out and getting that number 1 pick next year, then having a great cornerback in
Yeah.
2027 is going to be very great. So I kind
Yeah.
of like that plan. Okay, so let's go to 10 then. This sets up the Bears to make what I think would be the right pick, but let's see where you go.
Will Campbell.
There you go. We like that. For the Bears, you got Ben Johnson coming over from the Lions. They signed a lot of linemen, I think, on the offensive side,
Yeah.
and but I mean the
Doesn't mean
thing
they
that
don't need any more.
exactly, and I think the thing that separated the Lions was having a really good offensive lineman, and the
Yeah.
Lions were destroyed by injuries last year, so I think you can never have enough of offensive tackles. Anything. So the critique of Will Campbell, his arms are like a half inch or so too short, I believe. Any concern?
Yeah. Not really. I mean, like, he's just like Well, it's just his arms. If
Well,
he's good, if
just
he's
his arms. His
good,
arms are the main thing he's going to be using. I mean, you got to have a
yeah.
strong base, a strong legs, but
Well,
yes,
I mean, if he uses his arms, like he was able to do it super well in college, even though they were short. So,
that's what he said. He said, "Look at the tape. Like I'm good on the tape." So, which I think is completely fair. All right, number 11, San Francisco 49ers. That is now the 49ers, what a team. Like you go from just being top of the pops Super Bowl to really crashing out. They trade away Debo. They got to pay the quarterback. What do we think? Where are they drafting?
Armand Membu,
Armand Membu. And Armand Membu does what?
tackle.
Tackle. So they're going to kind of get. So now we're getting. This is where you like your tackles coming in, and Armand Membu. Why do we like Armand Membu? I have on one mock draft. I have him ranked above Will Campbell. So that would be a steal. But give me a little detail. What do you like about Armand Membu? A
Okay.
tackle from
Well,
Missouri.
first of all, Tra- um, he can learn from Trent Williams, who was 36,
Is Trent Williams
and
staying with the team? He didn't retire.
I don't think so, but he's probably going to soon.
Okay, yeah. So he's
And
going to have a mentor. We'd like that for at least
yeah,
another year.
hmm and he's just one of the best tackles in the draft class.
Okay, yeah. All right, that makes sense. All right, let's go down to the Cowboys. Number 12.
Yes,
Where do we think the Cowboys? You got your notes? Where are we going with the Cowboys here?
Tat McMillan or
Uh,
Tatarella McMillan. Yeah,
do they really need a receiver? Is that really what we want? Like, I mean, like at this point, you're at 12. Two of the top tackles are off the board in your thing.
yeah. Well, they
So the
drafted a
top
tackle
linemen,
last year too.
yeah, but top linemen are kind of off. Like, they
Yeah.
gave all that money to what's the number one receiver? Why am I
CeeDee
blanking on his?
Lamb,
CD Lamb. They have who's the other guy? That's the receiver. That's also Turpin. Kayvon, is that his name?
Cavante Turpin.
Yeah, Cavante Turpin. You think that they need? You think that they need another receiver? You think that's where they're going to go there?
Yeah.
All right. And why? What do you like
Well,
about?
first of all, he is like 6 foot. Like he's really tall. Like he's 6'5".
Who is
So
this
he's a
again?
big
Who are we
guy.
talking about?
Tatarella McMillan.
Okay, Tedero McMillan. Okay, yes, highly
And
regarded out of Arizona.
yeah.
And what
So
else? You're saying he's tall, and what
he's
else?
tall and he can moss people because he's tall. And he would probably be a really good wide receiver too. And he can like learn to run routes better because of like watching CeeDee Lamb.
Okay. So another mentorship. You're big on mentorship. Makes sense. You're young.
Yeah.
You're only 10. You're looking for mentors. That's why you got me. All right.
Okay.
The Dolphins pick at 13.
Milwaukee Starks.
Okay. And safety out of Georgia.
Yep.
Why do we like Malaki Starks for the Dolphins?
Because they lost their free safety Javon Holland to the Giants in free
Oh,
agency.
okay. Okay. And anything other analysis besides that on Malaki?
Not really, but he's probably the best safety in this draft class.
Okay. All right. Number 14, the Colts. Where are we going with the Colts? Did they get Danny Dimes? Is that right?
Yeah.
That's amusing. It's going to be Danny Dimes
Or
again,
Anthony Richardson.
yeah, versus Anthony Richardson, QB competition. Woo! What a thriller. Who do you got the Colts drafting?
Colston Loveland.
Colston Loveland, the tight end. Wow, you're
Yeah.
now that seems like a little bit of a reach, right? So because I don't
Yeah.
think most people have Colston Loveland that high on their board.
Yeah.
Big guy out of Michigan, 6'6", 248.
Yeah.
Solid numbers. But why do we think they're going up for that as opposed to say like a Shamar Stewart or Edge or somebody like that? Like what are we thinking on getting
Well,
Colston
for
Loveland?
well, they do not have a tight end. Like they're kind of like the Jets. Like I think their like number one tight end is like Drew Olgatree or something. Like they do not have tight end, and that's like a big need for them. And then like if they want to compete for like Anthony Richards and Daniel Jones, those are both two like horrible quarterbacks, so they would need someone good to throw to.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the Atlanta Falcons. Who do we like for the Falcons?
Shamar Stewart.
Okay, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. Why do we like Shamar?
Cause he like destroyed the combine.
Oh yeah,
Like
and then
he
what
did
about
he did good
yeah?
at like every single thing in the combine.
And how important do you think the combine is? Because it seems like a lot of analysts kind of poo-poo the combine. They prefer to look at the tape, the body of work over time. How do you kind of weigh one versus the other?
Well, they're both really important, but like usually like you like watch the combine and then you look at the tape. But like although his tape is not very good,
Oh,
like
really?
he had 1.5 sacks in every single year in college
Okay.
only, but he like if you do that good at the combine, then you kind of have to be pretty good.
You think so? See,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the experts go the other way around and they say you watch the tape and then the combine. Like I heard Sean McVay on a podcast, I think it was part of my take, saying that when you go to the combine, it's more about getting to know the person, interviewing them, and it's less about watching their performance because it's sort of unfair. It's like one day, you get one moment in time to perform. So I don't know. All right, let's get on to the Arizona Cardinals.
Cardinals,
Who did
yeah.
16? Who do they take?
Jade Barron.
Who is it?
Jade Barron, he's a corner.
Okay, and and why are they taking him? He's not even on my big board. So
He
tell me a
is.
little bit about him. Now, tell me a little bit about him.
Okay, well, he was probably the second best corner in the combine. He did very good there. Then he had like I went back and watched his tape and he was like really good. Like he went to Texas and he had like a lot of good plays, like interceptions and stuff. And he also had like a few forced fumbles, I think.
Okay. All right. Jahade Barron goes to the Falcons.
No, he went
Right?
to
No, to the
the
Cardinals.
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 Yeah.
Excuse me, Cardinals. All right. Bengals, number 17. Interesting team because they were great on offense, and then they're paying the receivers,
And
and
then
they're
now Trey Hendrickson is
yeah,
seeking a trade.
exactly. And you got the owner or whatever, somebody talking about the stadium. I don't know, a lot of weird, like off the like,
Yeah.
just a strange kind of organization where you have Joe Burrow, just tremendous. They made the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, loaded into offense, tying up their cap space. So I assume they have to draft on defense. But let's hear what you got. What do you have the Bengals doing?
Mike Green.
Mike Green, edge rusher out of Marshall. And why Mike Green for the Bengals?
Well, he is a very good edge rusher. He's also like Shamar Stewart and Abdul Carter. He's like all of them. And then like also since Trey Hendrickson is seeking a trade and their defense is a complete mess, then they need someone that can like get off after the QB and like actually like make some sacks and stuff.
Okay. All right, Mike Green. All right, let's go to the Seahawks at number 18. Who are we thinking they're going to draft?
Jahad Campbell,
Jahad Campbell. And what position is Jahad Campbell?
linebacker.
Okay. And why do we like Jahad Campbell for this team?
Well, if you watch his tape, he was like really good at Alabama and he like led their defense and the like Seahawks don't have that good of a linebacking core. So
Okay. So just loading into there. All right, that makes sense. All right, let's go to the Buccaneers. Who do we like for the Bucks at 19?
Matthew Golden.
Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. All right. And what's the thinking there?
Well, I don't even know if they re-signed Chris Godwin, but I think he's free agent.
And he came
And
off an injury. I think they
yeah,
did
he's
re-sign
coming
him. I'm
off an
almost certain
injury.
they re-signed him. Yeah.
But he can obviously he is like he's only 5'11", but
Mhm.
he ran a 4.29, so
Mhm.
he's really fast. And also, talking about mentorship, he can learn from Mike Evans.
Okay. So they did. It does look like they did sign Godwin, but I guess the question is whether or not he'll be ready to go because he's injured. So you're not worried about being overly stacked at the wide receiver position then.
No,
Uh, all right, let's go to the Broncos at number 20. Where do you think the Broncos go?
Omari and Hampton.
Okay, running back out of North Carolina. I love the pick. Tell me what you're thinking there.
Well, they obviously need a running back, and he's been like creating a lot of buzz, and people are like really high on him. So,
And what do they like about what are you? What do they? Well, like, what's the book? Why Amari Hampton? Because versus say Quinshon Judkins or somebody.
well, actually, he's very similar to Quinchon Judkins, but he is like a big running back. He's like I saw actually people comparing him to Derrick Henry, and
Really? He's
he
only
is
6 feet tall. Yeah,
yeah,
6 foot tall, 221 is what I have on my in my
yeah.
notes.
I don't know why they were comparing him to Derrick Henry, but he is like kind of a Derrick Henry type player. Not
Hmm.
by his size, but like the way he runs, where he like tries to truck and stiff arm people.
Okay. All right. Let's go down to 21. Pittsburgh Steelers. Who do they take? And they're still waiting. Well, this is again, we're recording this Sunday, April 6th. They still have not signed their quarterback. We do not know if
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is going to do it or not. I don't know what he's waiting for, but here we are.
Jackson Dart.
Oh, okay. And Jackson Dart, quarterback from Ole Miss. I think I know the thinking, but you tell me what you're thinking.
Well, as you said, they do not have quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers is like I don't even know what he's doing. I think Aaron Rodgers doesn't understand the way free agency works.
What is he like
Like
40? How old is he? I'm pretty sure he knows how
he's
free agency works.
41.
He's 41. He's been doing this for a while. I think he knows how free agency works. I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
out on a limb and
Well,
say that.
he might retire anyways cuz he probably should have retired in Green Bay, but uh
It did
cuz
not work out
then
well for him in New York with the Jets.
no. And like if it was like and like Aaron Rodgers, he's not that good anymore. Like
It's
even
true.
if
I mean, so I guess here's what I'll say in terms of quote unquote defense of Aaron Rodgers. He went to New York. He got injured on what, like the fourth play in
yeah,
regular in the first game, the regular season as a New York Jet. He spent the year recovering. He is older. It takes longer to recover from the injury. He showed glimpses of being a decent quarterback down the stretch. The
only
Jets may
glimpses.
only glimpses, but the Jets may be just a cursed franchise. And you have Mike Tomlin, who always brings teams to the playoffs. Like
And then
maybe like
loses.
he does lose there, but maybe he needs Aaron Rodgers. But they signed DK Metcalf, right?
Yeah.
So you got
And I saw
DK
him
Metcalf,
playing catch with DK Metcalf.
who Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I saw like a YouTube short of like him. It was before DK Metcalf got traded to the
Okay,
Steelers. He was like in Seattle playing catch with DK Metcalf.
all right. So maybe the answer is Rodgers as your starter, Jackson Dart on the bench for a year, maybe even two. I don't know that Aaron Rodgers is a great mentor, but uh,
No.
you you kind of learn, you grow in the Pittsburgh Steelers system, and then in 3 years you're ready to rock. We'll see where it goes. Okay, so Jackson
Yeah.
Dart to the Steelers. Number 22, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Luther Burden the third.
Luther Burden III. In what position is Mr. Burden III?
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver. Okay. And what are we thinking there? Why go with Luther Burden for
I
Justin
mean,
Herbert?
like, cause like Justin Herbert, like the Chargers, like need like really good people to throw to, and they would have like a really good receiving core if they had him and Lad McConkey, and I think they signed Mike Williams too, so they could have like all three of them, and then Justin Herbert could like be really good.
Okay. Let's go to 23. The Green Bay Packers.
Maxwell Hairston,
Maxwell Hairston. And why Maxwell Hairston? And what position is he?
corner, and cause he, well, first of all,
Out of
more
Kentucky.
mentorship.
Okay.
He could learn from Jair Alexander,
Mm-hmm.
and also they have Jair Alexander, but they don't really have corner number two. So
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, the NFC North with Chicago, now with Ben Johnson as the new coach, Caleb
mhm.
kind of reloading. They got some good receivers. You got the Lions, who are still going to be very good. No, it's going to be harder for the Lions. They lost their coordinators. Green Bay. I mean, that's just going to be a tough, and Minnesota. That's a tough division. So I guess,
Yeah,
you know, honestly, you're going to be playing Justin Jefferson twice a
yeah,
year. I guess you need all the corners you can get. So
yeah.
okay, I like it. The Houston Texans at number 25.
Gray Zabel,
Who is that? In what position?
guard.
Guard. Okay. I'll never go against a lineman. But what you're
Yeah,
thinking there? Just give me a little more on It's what is it? What's the name?
Gray Zabel.
Okay, sounds made up. But what's the thinking on Gray Zabel?
Well, um, he the Texans obviously did not have good O line last year. They traded
Hmm.
away Kenyon Green to the Eagles, and Kenyon Green's a guard too. I don't think Kenyon Green was even starting last
No,
year,
no, no, he wasn't.
but
He's a reclamation
this
project. He's gonna go to Stoutland U.
yeah, they need like a guard. So
Okay. All right, great. And he's out of North Dakota State, big boy, 6'6", 312 pounds.
yeah,
Uh, all right, let's go with Los Angeles Raiders. Who do we got the Raiders taking? I mean, excuse me, the Rams. Rams.
Jonah Savaiania.
Jonas Savababina. And what position is that player?
Um, uh, offensive line, like he can play tackle and guard.
Okay. And
I
what's the
think.
thinking? Jonah Savaiena out of Arizona, 6'4", 324 pounds. And why do we like that pick there?
Well, you like the Rams. I don't even know if they necessarily need offensive line, but there's like he is like a good tackle, and if you really want, he could play guard.
Okay.
And yeah,
You can never
if
have
you
enough offensive
yeah,
linemen, I'd
if
say.
you have an offensive lineman that can play tackle and guard, you're pretty much set. Unless you
Okay.
need another guard.
All right, let's go with the Baltimore Ravens. Who do we got?
Walter Nolan.
Okay. And what's the thinking on Walter Nolan?
Well, they need a defensive lineman since they do have like Namdi Matabike, but he like is like you need two defensive linemen, and their other defensive lineman is Michael Pierce, who was the guy that picked off Bailey Zappi in that one game with the Browns. But Michael Pierce is 32, and also more mentoring. He could learn from Michael Pierce and Namdi Matabike.
Okay. All right. And let's go to the Lions. We're getting near the end here. Who do you like the Detroit Lions taking?
Kenneth Grant.
And what position is Kenneth Grant?
Also defensive line.
Okay, and what's the thinking with Kenneth Grant? Why Kenneth Grant to the Lions?
Okay, well, they obviously struggled crazy, like with injuries last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think DJ Reader, their like number one DT, is a free agent, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no idea if they re-signed him, but that would make their D line super young because DJ Reader's like 29, I think, but I don't even know if he's still there. But they like last year or 2 years ago, they drafted this guy named Aleem McNeil, who wasn't that good in his rookie season or anything. But now he's gotten better. He also was injured last season, but that would make them have a very good young D line.
Okay. All right, and let's go to the Washington Commanders, the Commies. Who do you like the Commies getting? Unbelievable year, like made it to the NFC
Yeah.
Championship, got absolutely crushed, but a surprise, a pleasant surprise for those fans. Who do you like them taking here at number 29?
Tyleek Williams,
Tyleek Williams. And what does Tyleek Williams do?
yet another DT.
Okay. Uh, and what? Why do we like Tyleek Williams out of Ohio State? 6'3", 334 pounds. What's the What's the report on him?
Well, if you go back and watch his tape, he's really good. And they lost, like, they used to have Jonathan Allen, who was really good, but they lost him to the Vikings. Now the Vikings, they have, like, Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, so their D line is stacked. So
Hmm.
hopefully on this mock draft, I didn't put a DT for them too. But yeah. So since they lost their DT, they could use a new one. So
Okay. Let's get to the Buffalo Bills. They're always right there. Do you have a pick that can just push them over the edge? Who do you got them picking with number 30 in the first round?
Ariante Ursary,
Ariante Ursary, and he does what?
offensive line.
Offensive line, giving more protection to, is it a
Yeah.
tackle or in? He's a tackle out of Minnesota, 6 foot
Yeah.
six. Gosh, another huge guy, which is smart. You
Yeah.
got to be enormous nowadays, especially on the line.
Yeah.
6 foot 6, 331 pounds, big boy. What I mean, seems straightforward, but tell me what the thinking is there.
Well, offensive line, obviously, like probably the most important position besides quarterback. Well, heck, if the blocking's good enough, then any quarterback can look good because they can just like run. Because
Yeah,
if
I
the
agree. I think the
blocking's good enough.
offensive line, a strong offensive line is probably the number one most important thing a team can have.
So I know the Bills, they already have a pretty good offensive line, actually, especially at the tackle position, but they can like rearrange their offensive line because I'm pretty sure they're starting right tackle Spencer Brown. I think he might be able to play guard. So then, if they put him at guard, and then Ariante Ursary at tackle where he would have been, then they could use that.
Okay, great. Let's go to the Kansas City
Chiefs.
Chiefs. Pick number 31. Where are we going with the Chiefs?
Mason Taylor,
Mason Taylor is, what is he?
tight end from LSU.
Tight end? Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. 6'5", big boy. 251. So I know let me guess. He'll get mentored by,
Yes, by Travis Kelce. But
okay.
Travis Kelce is also like 35
He is
or
older.
6.
Yeah. There was
So,
chatter of him retiring. Obviously, he's
yeah.
decided to keep playing. So I guess some of the mocks I've seen have them looking at offensive line to protect. We saw in the Super Bowl, we saw
True.
Mahomes getting sacked over and over and over and over and
Hey,
over and
Mason
over.
Taylor can block.
True, he is a big guy.
Maybe.
Keep him inside a blocking tight. Is he a blocking tight end or is he more like a receiving tight end?
I think he's more of a receiving tight end, but anyone that's big can block.
Well, that's not necessarily true, but okay.
Well, Kind of. If they can just stand
Mm,
still, then no one could get around them.
I don't think that's true at all. But okay, so we're going with a tight end. And then the last pick in the first round, it belongs to the Philadelphia Eagles. Who do you have them taking?
Harold Fannin Jr.,
Harold Fannin Jr. And what position is Harold Fannin Jr.?
tight end.
Tight end. Well, you know what? 6'3.5", 241. And what's the thinking here? See, I don't
Well,
think they'll do that because they're obsessed with defensive line and offensive line. So, but I do know they
yeah.
have need with Dallas Goddard. Dallas Goddard may be leaving. I feel like personally, I think the Eagles would look in the second or third round for this tight end, which is going to be of need. But go ahead. Why do you like Harold Fannin Jr. for them
Okay,
here?
so
And you don't
first
think
of
he'd be
all,
like there later?
he might, but they only they have the 32nd pick, so I don't know
Yeah.
if he would be there with the 64th pick.
Hmm.
But anyways, so first of all, I heard a story apparently he went to Bowling Green, and then the Bowling Green head coach is now on the Eagles or something.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
he could be with his former some sort of coach. And
A
then
connection.
also if they maybe if Dallas Goddard leaves, or also you need two tight ends. At least half of your average playbook has a play with two tight ends. They had Grant Calctalera as their second tight end, or CJ Uzomaha. So they could probably. I think Harold Finn Jr. is better than one of them.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the first round. We'll be
Yeah.
watching it in a couple weeks. Thanks for doing this, and we'll be back soon with our next episode. All right.
Yeah.
See you, buddy.
Okay. Bye.